All right, welcome back, everybody, to more Super Mario Odyssey Any Percent. Today, we've got more Division C matches. We actually have 3 Division C matches all happening today. So, all the matches you're going to see from Mario Odyssey today are within the same bracket. Today, we're joined by Viridityy and Ocarina's Drew. Welcome, everybody. How you guys feeling today? I'll start with you, Viridityy.
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing
Excellent,
good as
excellent.
well.
Fantastic. And I am joined by my co-commentator, Lucine. Hello, Lucine.
Hello.
And yeah,
I am excited to see these racers go at it.
yes. Yeah, we've got a lot of Division C action today. You know, runners all relatively same skill bracket, but hey, I mean, lots of things can happen in these sorts of races, and you know, things are not always what they seem. I do want to ask, you know, because I was mentioning before we hopped on the call, I'm a little bit of a boomer. I don't know everyone's names, but I'm very curious. Viridityy and Drew, how long have you been playing the game? How long have you been speedrunning Odyssey, Viridityy?
I started in late April this year.
Oh my gosh, very recent.
I started in late
Drew?
Sorry, I got a little bit of an echo. I've been running this game since early 2019, late 2018. So it's been a couple of years. I've kind of branched out into other Mario games since then, but I still do run this as part of multi Mario runs. So I'm always happy
Gotcha.
to join an Odyssey tournament.
Awesome. Good to hear. Well, got a battle of old versus new. Looking at the PBs, just a little bit of a little bit of a favorite here for Drew. But again, anything can happen in a race, especially with how new Viridityy is. Like I said this time and time again. You can never underestimate the new runners. They always have something up their sleeves. Always have something that's going to happen. So
For
very
sure.
excited to see how this is going to go. Yeah, you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling good. Think we can go ahead and get started whenever you guys feel like you're ready.
I do just want to say real quick. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of incredible the power creep that I've seen in Odyssey because for the last year or so, I haven't really been running Odyssey super much. Um, I have dropped from like almost top 100 to like not even top 200. Like the community's just getting so good. I've dropped the tournament division, so
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
it's getting the community's just getting good, and it's cool to see.
It's pretty
So
nuts. They,
yeah,
they kept playing the game even though we took a break. Isn't that crazy?
yeah. It's weird how that happens.
But yeah. All right. I first of all, I agree. It's crazy. Second of all, yeah, I'm super excited for the race. You already there? Both runners, Drew, Viridityy?
I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I'm good.
All right. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Racetime GG right now, so we've told the runners both to just set their timers to a -45 countdown, and I'm going to count them down. We're going to do this old school. Just we'll do a 3, 2, 1, go. On go, you can start your 45-second timer and begin DSTA whenever you're ready. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck to the runners. You can mute, you can def it, you can peace out. We'll be here.
Alrighty, good luck.
Yeah, and that 3, 2, 1, go again is for a -45-second countdown. Their Mario Odyssey is special. We have a daylight savings time trick in the run, which requires some runners to start, their clock, their switch clock at a specific time. So most runners will use like a 10-second or a 15-second, some amount of countdown up to their run to account for all the different offsets that different runners could use depending on what routes they're taking. We just said, all right, we're just going to start with a 45-second countdown. Wherever in that countdown you wish to start your clock, as Drew is doing now, just pick your time and then go once it hits 0, like normal. We're underway. All right. Super exciting. We always have this little bit of time in the beginning of Capid Cascade, though, where most of the runners are probably going to be doing most of the same stuff. There's one little wrinkle at the end of Cap that runners can opt for that does save 2 seconds, but it's 2 seconds in the first 2 minutes of the run. this is kind of our dead time to just watch and enjoy and hang out. So how are you doing, Lucine?
I'm doing well. And I think only 2 runners have successfully gotten this trick so far. That was the Xylex versus Quatex match yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes. As far as I know anyways, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it does only save 2 seconds, and in a run that's an hour long or longer, depending on your skill level, it's relatively low priority, right? For most runners to learn, it's just kind of not something that they generally are going to be super interested in, unless they care about the swag factor, which is very important, very important.
Yes, you gotta assert your dominance in this league.
But so that aforementioned trick is called left side. As our runners go through this door here at the top of the frog room, they can go left or right. Drew does opt to go left. Opts for the vault setup. Okay. And that looks good. Meanwhile, Viridityy choosing to go over to the right, just rolling up this little slope here. Again, this is only a 2-second time save, not a huge deal, but you cannot deny the swag factor. So, I mean, Drew is winning in the swag game, and that's really all that matters, right?
Yes. But he is also winning in the race game because he is about, I want to say 8 or 9 seconds ahead.
Yeah, so it should be a 2:23 exit for Drew and a 2:31. Yep, so 23:31, 8 seconds, yeah. Very nice, comfy 8-second lead after the first Kingdom of the game for Drew. And what we're going to be looking at here is, I think that both of our runners are going to be choosing to go for the Dino, using Dino Skip. Probably the same route here in Cascade Kingdom. So this is just a matter of movement and boss fight.
I am praying for some DSSs though, because it would be cool to see some.
DSS would be super cool to see in a race, but I feel like unless the runners are flirting with sub-hour PBs, probably not something that they're going to be electing to go. I could be wrong. But I don't think it's something that they'll be actively seeking out for a race. But let's just see. After the story moon, they can either go forward across the bridge or do DSS. Yeah, there's
Drew is
going
going
across the
to
bridge.
just go for Dino Skip.
And looks like Viridityy will be doing the same as well. Just going across the bridge, nothing fancy. Talking to Cappy, and then heading over to the Dino afterwards for Dino Skip. So you can get that left foot breaking the rock with the trampoline underneath. Nice and clean. He's a little bit far away, but he does get it. Okay.
Now, believe it or not, I think we've had at least 60% of runners actually fail Dino Skip the first time, at least getting the foot on the trampoline.
See, and that right there tells me that this is definitely one of those first nerve checks in a race, because all of these runners have done Dino Skip. I mean, I'm not even gonna throw out a number to guess how many times they've done it in their lives. Just an insane amount of Dino Skips. The very first, big thing that they'll do in the run. It's a big race, official sort of tournament. Nerves are high. I think that's purely what that comes down to, which is totally valid, because for a lot of our runners, like we just mentioned from Viridityy, that Viridity's new to the game, just started running it in April. This is probably a lot of people's first race, let alone a tournament race. Like, this is nerve-wracking for people. This is you cannot underestimate the effect of nerves on your performance.
Yes, I know. I could definitely say that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go back and look at my night metro during my race.
Yeah, that kind of stuff does happen. But all the same, nice and clean boss fights from both of our runners here. Ocarina is True just heading over to the Smooth on the Cliff. Gonna be trying to do a spin pound roll under the chain chomp for more swag points before heading to the Odyssey and leaving for Sand Kingdom. And Viridityy does also a spin pound roll, but it likes to take a little bit of a wider angle, giving a chain chomp some room. This is one of those things. So that chain chomp's movement is not random. It will always charge at you wherever you come at it. But if you choose a slightly different angle to approach it, then that means that it's going to be bouncing back to its original resting position at a slightly different angle when you try to cross back and go to the Odyssey. And so it's just one of those things. Like, if you're not perfectly consistent with your angle every single time, you're never 100% sure where that chain jump is going to be. So I totally understand Viridity's decision there to just give it some room, give it a wide berth.
Yes, and I can say for sure it does depend on your speed when going to that cliff moon, because the only way you can get to the point where you can go under it is if you can get that chomp in the resting position as you're heading towards the Odyssey.
Yes. Yep. You can jump in different directions. The timing with which it comes back is dependent on how fast you go. But Drew just says, yeah, no big deal. I can just go under the chain jump. It's all good. And we're going to see Drew planting his seed here in Sand Kingdom. We saw him set up the clock for daylight savings time shenanigans. So I'm going to see. And for those who are unaware, I'm not going to explain the entire trick again, but basically, the daylight saving time abuse functions, the way it works for, in terms of practical application for a runner is you need to set it to, be 7 minutes later. And that means that you need to have a very consistent cap and cascade. You can't have too many huge major mistakes. Like, that's really unfortunate for Drew there. Something must have gone wrong. Maybe he planted his seed a little bit too late. Maybe his cap and cascade was not quite to the level that he was used to. And so that seed is not growing. Actually, it looks like he might have used the wrong day for daylight saving time. I'm not entirely sure what happened. But nonetheless, the seed did not trigger. He was unable to get the automatic seed growth, so has to go back into the switch menu, set the clock. Not the end of the world, but definitely something that's gonna, he's gonna be thinking about that one for a little bit.
We need a
Viridityy.
DSTA command according to I don't know for IDK.
All right. I want to see if Drew is going to go for the capture warp, because Viridityy did not. And then after that, we can spend some time talking about some daylight saving time stuff. But so there's Viridityy spawning the Crate Moon. Now, they're doing different routes in the Sand Kingdom here. So the only measure we have of who's ahead or behind is that moon counter in the top left. So Drew does have one more moon than Viridityy right now. Also not going for the capture warp trick, just going to be climbing up this icicle here, just like Viridityy did. So likely going to be getting the Pillar Moon that Viridityy just got, Crate Moon into the Pillar Moon, into... you can go either two ways. You can go to Lost in the Luggage.
Oh no, Drew with Drew bonking. That's gonna cost him a few seconds.
Yeah. Thankfully, that bonk doesn't, lose you the whole run. You can even get another fresh bullet bill right immediately afterwards. The bullet bill is coming towards him that you can just get. But it is one of those, oh man, I was on the last cycle. Now I have to wait for the next one. This is bogus. This is dumb. Totally feel that.
Anything you can think of.
Yeah, but for Viridityy going to Lost in the Luggage, getting the moon in the Shifting Sands, and Drew just going straight for the Bullet Bill Crate into Jaxi Ruins. So different routes here for my runners again. But again, for those who don't know, for daylight savings time, that seed that Drew planted at the start of the kingdom takes 20 IRL minutes to grow. And the whole reason for the daylight saving time setup is that you set daylight saving time to kick in immediately after you plant the seed. So that means, 7 minutes before that seed at the start of the run, you set your clock so that 7 minutes later, right after you plant the seed, daylight saving time kicks in. Your switch clock goes from 1:59 a.m. to 3 a.m. And the switch is like, oh, an hour has passed. Okay, the seed is full grown. Done. And you can immediately collect the moon. But for some reason, something happened with Drew. I'm not sure if he set the wrong date for daylight saving time or his cap and cascade was not quite fast enough for that 7 minute mark. But he had to go into the switch menu and again, manually just set the clock forward an hour. That will also do the trick, but you don't want to have to do that in the middle of your run, obviously. But he continues on. and almost gets a single spin throw notes, but not quite. Just a little bit of distance missing on that spin throw there. Let's see how Viridityy does with the spin throw notes. Missed the back left one, so had to go back and retry that. But still relatively clean Sand Kingdom from both of the runners. They're still like 10 seconds apart or so.
Yes, I'm actually very impressed by both Viridityy and Drew. Both of them, Drew having a little bit of a mess up, but still was able to recover quite nicely.
Yeah, really showing the the nerves that you need for the race of, okay, there was a mistake, something happened, I gotta move on, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep the run going if I can. But it's Drew finishing with 11:13, Viridityy finishing with an 11:24, 25. Yeah, about 10 seconds still separating the runners out of Sand Kingdom. That's awesome. Very good stuff.
Now here we see the runners going to Lake Kingdom, which has a boss fight which is named what, Akra?
It's named Rango. They're yeah, so there are 4 bunnies in this game, Brutals they're called, that are Bowser's wedding planners, and they appear as, boss fights throughout the game. Ooh, Drew taking a little bit of a tumble there, not quite getting the height he needed to cross that wall there. Second time's the charm. Rolling through the Goombas, gonna be grabbing this zipper over here. Let's see how Viridityy does. Yep, very clean. Yeah, so the Brutals boss fights appear throughout the game. There was one at the start of the game, Cap Kingdom, we fought Topper. Do we get a late clip? No. Do we get a late clip? No, neither runner going for a late clip. Just a standard route. Both are going to be fighting Rango. Harriet is a brutal, which you're supposed to, quote unquote, fight in the Sand Kingdom if you're doing the whole story missions, but we don't, so we skip Harriet. And if you're doing the Lake Clip route, you also don't fight Rango here. You don't fight Rango at all in the game if you're doing the Lake Clip route. These runners are not, so we will be seeing some Rango action. But for me, I haven't fought Rango in years, so I straight up forgot his name when I was commentating the race the other day. I was like, it's that bunny, the tall, lanky one. Oh no, Drew taking damage, not able to get the quick first cycle there on Rango, unfortunately. But once you hit Rango one time, he is locked in place. You can just stomp on his hat, keep him there. He ain't going nowhere.
Is that supposed to be a reference?
No, that's just me talking weird.
Oh no, I thought that.
Small slip up there from Drew on the boss fight. Viridityy having a cleaner boss fight than Drew, saving some time, catching up there. That was a little bit of a cleaner Lake Kingdom for Viridityy than it was for Drew.
Yes, and all because of that early tumble that Drew took. I think the only reason he took it is because of the vaults that he got. He was too far away from the platform they need to get on top of.
Yeah, sort of the tech, the strat for getting up there is you get the first ground pound moon near the Odyssey ship, and after you ground pound it, you throw out your cap and you will roll into your cap, get a vault. However, Drew's cap, I did notice, was a little bit too far to the wrong angle, and so Mario was sent flying away from the wall. He had to try to course correct. Didn't quite work. But still, I mean, of all the mistakes to make, that's kind of one of those ones that you're like, okay, well, I lost 3 seconds. I'll keep on going. I'll move on.
Yes, and here we head into one of the worst kingdoms ever in runs, which a lot of people name Curse.
Yes,
we are headed into Wooded Kingdom, one of which is the most cursed kingdom in the game.
Yeah, a fair number of runners choose to have custom names for the splits, and a lot of runners name the Wooded split Cursed, Reset, I'm stuck here, I hate this, and any form of I'm in hell. Very, very common occurrence. But both of our runners cleanly getting the bunny, getting the rock moon, gonna go spend 100 coins for a moon at the shop. I didn't check Viridity's coin count, but he's good as well. Yeah, so this is one of 2 moons in the game that we purchase. You can actually purchase a moon in almost every kingdom in the game, but getting the coins required is somewhat of a task. I'll shut up for a second while we watch Drew try to go for nut clip, and then I'll talk some more about the coins. So here's the nut clip trick. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's not even going for it. He's just going to break the nut immediately. That's surprising to me. I would have expected with a 103 PB that he would go for it, but hey. Oh, wait, did Viridityy do it? Oh, he did go
Viridityy
for
does
it, but
seem
he's
to
not in
go
the wall.
for it.
He's not in the wall, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Viridityy is doing the beginner route.
And Drew heading back for the tree. Is he going to go up the ramp now? I think that's probably what he's
Yes,
intending here.
yes, I think he's doing the intermediate route, while Viridityy was
Mhm.
just doing nut clip to get gate skip.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Wooded, again, I will get back to the coins, I promise. But Wooded is one of those other kingdoms where there's lots of different route options because there are so many moons. You know, you only need to get the 16 moons. It doesn't matter where you get them to move on. So with so many options, lots of runners will choose different routes, different movement options, all kinds of different tricks. So you can never really be too sure of what you're going to see whenever you roll up. But I don't think anything bad has happened yet. It looks like they're just going for the routes that they're going for, no mistakes. Viridityy grabbing the flag for a checkpoint and heading to the sewers first. Okay, so this is interesting. He's planning on going into the sewers, getting the 2 moons in here, and then warping back to that checkpoint he just hit and continuing on the Flower Road. Okay, so coins. There are 2 moons that we purchase with coins in the any percent route, strictly because of how difficult it is to get coins and how inconvenient some of the shops are placed. The shop in Sand Kingdom is not too inconvenient, but it's really, really difficult to get 100 coins by the Sand Kingdom. 5-6 minutes in, really difficult to get that many coins.
At least fast, anyways.
Yeah, you'd be going out of your way to get coins, which slows down the moon collecting process, which is a no-no.
Yes,
So
indeed.
the kind of the Magic Kingdom is Wooded. It's the first kingdom where the shop is right there, and you've got just enough coins, just 100 coins to purchase the moon. You saw Drew roll up with 101, Viridityy roll up with 106, like just enough coins to get that first moon. There's a hint art later in the game in the Metro Kingdom where you can ground pound a specific spot and you are gifted 200 coins. So after the Metro Kingdom, we get our second purchased moon. But generally speaking, it's not worth going for any others just because of how far out of the way the shops are.
There is one other hint art that some runners go for, but that's mostly only on the top level, and people go for the hint art in Cloud instead of Metro to save time in day Metro.
Yep. It is I think a second saved or something if you're able to get this hint art in the Cloud Kingdom instead of Metro, because in Metro you need to hit the ground with a ground pound rather than continuing on first. And in the Cloud Kingdom boss fight, it's just it's during that cycle while you're waiting for the next cycle, essentially. So doesn't lose any time, but it is very tricky, very precise.
And Drew was saying about how you do buy 2 moons, but there is a potential 3rd moon that you buy if you do go for a strat in Luncheon called Spiritless.
That's true. Yes. But we did see Drew just jump down from the tower, not going for the boss fight against Spirit. Instead, going to be collecting this moon over here inside the nut and finishing up in the pipes. Now, Viridityy has already done the pipes, so I think we will be seeing the Spirit boss fight from Viridityy. Yep, finishing up with the pipes for Drew. And Viridityy does need 3 moons, which is what you get from the boss fight. So math checks out. We're all good to go. Don't even need to take the road up to the boss fight platform. You can just jump up there.
Now, for those of you that don't know, this area that Drew is in is called Flooded Pipes. It is completely cycle-based, and there's no way to, go specifically fast. You have to follow the cycle.
Yeah. Part of following that cycle does entail weaving your way through the fuzzies to get up to that final moon there. Unfortunately, Drew does take damage from the first bar of fuzzies, which makes it nigh impossible to get back up without waiting for the second bar to pass. He did try to squeeze through on the second time, but It's one of those things, like it's insanely hard. You're probably better off just waiting, because you're also dealing with the rising water level. Very, very finicky little area if you're not able to hit the right cycle there. That will be both of our runners now leaving the Wooded Kingdom again. After such a long and somewhat difficult kingdom, they're still pretty close. It's still anyone's game. Anything can happen still.
Indeed.
But this is the level we were talking about before, the cloud stage. There is a Bowser fight here and nothing else. But there is one spot on the ground on this arena that you can ground pound and immediately get 200 coins. You have to do it right now while Bowser's flying in the air, waiting for his next, position. But Drew decides, you know what, that's way too dank. I don't need that in my life. I'm just gonna do the boss fight and move on with my life, which is totally fair. I don't even go for that stuff because it's way too much.
Yeah, personally, I just collect the one in Metro because it's easiest.
Yeah, it's like a second of time loss or something like that, and you know what? I can deal with that. Oh no, Drew! Unfortunately, he took damage to try to use some iframes to collect the white hat there to fight Bowser, but he actually hit the hat back into Bowser. He didn't grab it last cycle, so he has to try for that again. That's some time loss there for Viridityy to capitalize on. That is an unfortunate mistake that you rarely see.
Yes, I think what happened there was that Drew forgot to backflip while getting the hat. So he just capped throughout the hat while standing still.
It's actually more ways than you think that this can be missed. Like, you can backflip, but if you throw your cappy too early, you'll knock the hat back into Bowser. The whole reason, oh my gosh, I'm talking and Drew is just doing a very, very nice tree jump with cap returns, and look at this. This movement is clean at the start of Lost here. This is fantastic. But the whole reason that the hat capture there works is because you're knocking it out of the air and Mario is inside of its hitbox, so you immediately collect it. But if you're too far below it as well, you're too early in your backflip, you'll just knock it back to Bowser and you won't be inside of it. So there's multiple ways of actually making that mistake, believe it or not. But a very
I'm a new runner, so I had no idea.
Very clean start to Lost Kingdom from both of our runners here, looking very nice. Flying through the kingdom.
Viridityy is going to take the safer approach to the butterfly, which is very respectable in these kinds of races.
See Drew giving the Trapedal his hat, waiting in place, diving down to the other moon. Looking clean. Now, do we see a cage triple? This is the one big trick in the kingdom that people will start to learn as they get better. But no, we've seen this again, time and time again. People just opting for this pillar moon down here inside of this this stone cage, just because it's really not that much slower than going for the big fancy trick. Oh my gosh!
That gave me a heart attack.
So Drew, okay, so opting for the pillar moon because it is safer, totally respect that. Not that much slower, very sensible decision for a race. And then Drew goes under the bridge, misses the moon with his dive, but bonks into the underside of the bridge, and that bonk sends him flying backwards just enough to actually collect the moon. That is insane. I can't believe that happened like that. Wow.
Yes, but the only reason people don't go for cage triple is just because the trees hitboxes are very finicky. Sometimes you should be on the tree when you just phase through it, or sometimes you just on the tree when you shouldn't even be on it.
Yeah, it's this weird combination of you need the right amount of speed so that, giving your hat to the Trapedal and getting to the tree, you get there at the right time. You need the right angle, you need the right triple jump timing. It's very particular. But the swag points are off the charts if you do get it, I will say.
Yes. Drew doing awning jump. Gets it cleanly.
Very clean. Nice triple jump up to the side of the building here. No, ooh. Okay. He lost his momentum there for a second, but he made it work. Love to see that. He's going to be taking it real safe, just jumping off the top of that skylight over here to the pylon.
Sadly, not going to go for the faster Goomba heck.
Well, that's something different, actually. Inside of the building here is
Oh.
what the Goomba heck
Oh.
trick is. Yeah, so what you're just going to see Drew doing is triple jumping up, wall kicking. He doesn't quite have the right angle, so he has to try again, and jumping over to the left. And he's going to get this elevator cycle. Oh, he just skips it entirely. Wow, look at that. He knows that he missed the cycle, and so he's just like, yeah, I don't need the elevator. I got this. That's impressive stuff there. I love to see that. Oh, Viridityy taking a huge bonk on the side of the building. Going to be taking a death there. Really, really tragic. He almost had enough height to clear that dive, but not quite enough.
Thankfully, Viridityy did hit the checkpoints, so they didn't spawn all the way back to the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm. Gonna get a second go at it here for awning jump and all of this vertical movement here. I made this analogy the other day for some of our viewers who might be newer to Odyssey that are coming from Mario 64, learning about this speedrun. But the Metro Kingdom, which is where they are right now, is very much like TTC in that it's a very vertical stage, and if you bonk and fall, you are falling. You are going all the way down. There ain't no way back up. You gotta maneuver your way and figure out what you're doing after you fall, because your plan is completely off the rails at that point. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, so Viridityy just taking the scaffolding up. Really can't blame that decision. Like I said, it's kind of one of those, all right, now what do I do?
Let's see
Totally understandable.
if Drew can get 2-cycle on the Mecha Wiggler. And does it very cleanly.
Viridityy just choosing to go for the right elevator platform cycle. You know, I think this is one of those things. Viridityy probably was planning on missing the left elevator cycle, but I don't think he knows what Drew knows about. You don't need the elevators anyway. If he knew what he knew, probably he would do the same thing. I mean, I didn't know it either. That's kind of funny. But a very clean night metro from Drew, getting a very nice Wiggler fight. Unfortunately, Viridityy took a couple of tumbles before getting here, but now just has the boss fight separating the two.
And I was scared about that blind jump for Viridityy, because that jump is also one of those jumps where if you fail, you fall all the way back down.
Mm-hmm. Gonna be Drew setting up the cap there for a capture warp. So throwing Cappy out behind him, collecting the moon, and then warping over to the cap, which captured a pylon. Very nice little trick there. And do we see a scooter clip? Looks like it. Looking for the setup on the line. Nice. Very good. Clean. Good stuff. And like I said, Metro Kingdom is one of the ones with a lot of verticality, but for this beginning portion of Day Metro at least, it's relatively cool, calm, and collected. Not a whole lot that can go wrong aside from Scoot Clip here in the beginning portion of this kingdom.
Yes, mostly in the second half of the kingdom where you see a lot of verticality.
Yep. One segment, Viridityy missing the last segment on the Wiggler. Going to be seeing a 3-cycle, actually. That is really unfortunate. That's never what you want to see in a run.
Yes, and this is the biggest time loss in Night Metro, in my opinion, when you get a 3-cycle Mecha Wiggler.
Yep. Yeah, not being able to kill it on the second cycle means you got to wait for it to run across the arena, wait for it to shoot all these fireballs, wait for it to get in a position where you can actually hit the one freaking segment. We love Mecha Wiggler.
Yes, it's the best boss fight. No competition.
Oh goodness. But them's the breaks. I mean, that's the kind of thing. You know, we like to say at the beginning of a race, anything can happen. Well, this does fall under the category of anything happening, unfortunately.
Yes.
But we have Drew, nice long jump into a buffered spin pound to spawn the moon outside of the remains of the Mecha Wiggler, and then talking to the basis. So there are several story moons here in the Metro Kingdom that we like to collect. This first portion of the story is getting the band together. There's a very, very ancient meme that any boomers will know that bassist that Drew just talked to, it sounds like he's saying something, but it's not like actual English human language. He just says OTEP. And so OTEP has become a ginormous meme in ye olden days. Any boomers in chat like me. All right, let's see Viridityy. I know, I'm showing my age here. Viridityy opts not to go for the scooter altogether, instead just going to use the RC car. Ooh, almost gets a nice clean back in, but the angle was just off, so it has to reset up. Not a huge deal. And here's Drew. Like we talked about that verticality, you are just climbing the highest skyscraper in the whole kingdom, just freestanding in the middle of nothing. Don't fall down.
And actually, Drew pointing his camera down is something you do have to do in this on that climb, because the way that Super Mario Odyssey works is that it is a camera-based game, where if the moon isn't on camera, it does not exist, or if anything's not on camera, it does not exist.
Yes, believe me, I've seen far too many runners not aware of the camera spawning things, not turning their camera to look at that moon atop the skyscraper. They jump off of that pole there and they just go right through the moon, because until it has been on screen for, you know, a second, it's not tangible, it's not real. You can just phase right through it. And you know, they jump through the moon atop the skyscraper, fall all the way down, and they cry. Never want that to happen.
And Drew is going to warp back to the Odyssey.
Yeah, all things considered, very, very clean Metro from Drew. No major mistakes to speak of. And just moving on. So that's going to be exiting with it is a 32 day Metro exit, 32 5X, I believe. Very, very solid. Actually, I've said this before, but and I wanna make sure that I'm not lying to the audience here. So let me just look at the stats real quick and confirm the validity of what I'm saying. But a 32 Metro exit for a 103 PB is good. I want to check and see if that's actually PB pace, because I'm very curious now. But that is a very, very good run to have at this level. Okay, no, Drew is behind his PB by a fair bit. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, where are you looking at this from?
Oh, in the Twitch chat, we have some links for the Odyssey C division, which is the division we're currently spectating. So there's a link for the bracket and a link for stats. And in the head-to-head tab on the stats page, it shows you the current runners, the run that we're currently watching, these two runners. You can see that Drew is 30 seconds behind his PB right now. Honestly, given how the run is going and how things are looking, I still think it's not unrecoverable. He could have a fantastic late game and bring it back. But even if not, very good first half of his run, gotta say. Yeah. And this is somewhat what I was expecting, is that, you know, the runners were still pretty close to each other after Lost Kingdom coming into Metro, and Metro is like Wooded, the other big run disaster area where everything can go wrong. So
I think there are 5 kingdoms like that.
The 3 that come to mind for me.
There's Sand, Wooded, specifically Night Metro, in my opinion. Luncheon and Bowser's.
Yeah, for me, the 3 kingdoms that come to mind is the most at risk of shenaniganry is Wooded, Metro, and Luncheon. Those are the 3 that kind of, you never really know. Drew trying to get the bounce off the umbrella here up to the bridge, but not quite getting the right angle. There's some spots on that bridge. If you try to wall kick off of it, it actually will wall kick Mario downwards instead of upwards and just send you right back down to the ground where you came from. And it's like, try again, bucko.
It's because Odyssey geometry is stupid.
Ooh, Ocarina's Drew again, going for a pretty nice trick there. Going for the moon clip into the wall, not quite getting it. Not a huge deal. It only saves like a second or so. but he did spend about a half a second setting it up. So not going for the triple jump, just gonna spin pound his way to victory. Can't argue with that at all. And now Viridityy is making his way out of the Metro Kingdom, 35-37. Yeah, so about 2.5 minutes separating the runners right now. This is Drew's race to lose, as it were. And yeah, actually, now that I think about it, a 35 from Viridityy means 32 minutes. Yeah, Viridityy also is on a potential run here for himself. Depending on how the rest of his run goes, obviously, but not the worst Metro exit that he could ask for. Certainly not. All right, Drew going to be making his way through the Goomba room.
Now, it does seem like Drew did pick up that shop moon earlier, so I don't think he's gonna go for Snowdram.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna get this one moon in this little alcove here, and then go grab the other story moon, and then he only needs one moon to go. So probably what he's gonna do is go into the third little sub area here in the Snow Kingdom, the Rango room we call it, because you're supposed to fight the Rango boss there again, but we don't do that because that's way too slow. You just get the one mood off to the side rather than going to the main area for the boss fight. A little bit of a tumble there from Viridityy climbing up the boxes, but no big deal, just gets right back up. And I think
Yes.
Drew's going to go, over to the Rango room.
And even in some of the other main categories, Rango is neglected. Like for World Peace, for example, you do a clip to get into the Bound Bowl room.
Yes, it's actually funny. In longer categories, let's say all moons, because that's easy to understand why you would be going here anyway. All moons, you get all the moons in the run. Even in all moon, oh my gosh, that cap bounce was very spooky from Drew there, but able to get it. In all moons, you go and do the race first. You clip into the ground and do the final story moon, which renders all the previous story moons just collectible. So you can go into the Rango room and just grab the moon. You don't need to fight Rango. He's not there. So most of the time, you won't be seeing any run of this game at any point fighting Rango in the Snow Kingdom, because why would you do that?
Yeah, the only place you see Rango is in the Mech and Lake Kingdom.
Yeah, and so this is kind of one of the other things for any percent runs, is that we don't fight Harriet in the Sand Kingdom. We roll up to Bowser's Kingdom, and there's this girl bunny that we've never seen before that we have to fight. And what the heck is going on? But technically you're supposed to fight her earlier in the game. We just choose not to. A little bit of a couple mishaps here in the spiny room for Viridityy, getting blown back by the blowy Joey. But a clean first moon climb up the cliffside for Drew there in Seaside. Heading over to the pipe. Wow, how did he know where that moon was in the ground? That's crazy.
All right. He must be some kind of psychic.
All right. Drew opts to actually stop in his tracks and go for the backflip cap through instead of the single jump, which I can totally respect. There's actually a little bit of level geometry there's a little bit of a ledge there. The sand inside that little cave is lower than the grass outside of it. So if you're not standing exactly on the right spot, you're not going to have enough height. It's kind of cursed, but leads to decisions like backflipping instead, which I totally respect.
And will we see fish dip here from Drew?
I think we're more likely to see the fish clip than fish dip. Yeah, not seeing fish dip.
Yes.
Fish dip is a little bit of a newer trick. Many of the runners who have been consistently playing this game and learning all the tricks as they come out will tell you that fish dip is literally free, the easiest trick in the world. Anyone can do it. My grandma could do it with her eyes closed, etc., etc. But it is a newer trick, and so some of the boomer runners like me and Drew, it's like, I don't need that. That's a new kid stuff. I can do the run just fine without it.
Drew is gonna fish bonk multiple times, which is making me a little bit mad because I hate fish bonks with a passion.
Oh yeah, fish bonks are Nasty. But
No,
able to get
but
the Dory Moon. Mm-hmm.
but in reality, fish dip is apparently less free than DSS, according to some people.
Interesting. I'm hearing conflicting stories. I need a fact checker. But there is the fish clip from Drew at the end of the kingdom, getting out of bounds, just going to swim his way to this moon. Careful not to clip back in bounds, and then heading over to the loading zone for the final moon. And here's Viridityy. Is going for Snowdram, but doesn't quite make it. Wait, Viridityy has enough moons to leave, right? He has 10 moons, right? Am I missing something?
Viridityy did have enough moons to leave.
I guess he was just showing off.
Gotta
Trying
get
to
those
be...
swag points.
I keep talking about the swag points, and then when someone actually tries to get swag, I criticize them. You're absolutely right. My bad. But yeah, that is going to be an entire Seaside Kingdom separating our runners now. As Viridityy is leaving Snow, Drew is leaving Seaside, moving on to Luncheon. So yeah, about, best case scenario, like 3.5 minutes or so separating the runners.
Milan, you could be right, because Viridityy might go for Snowdram in his routes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of the things that I'm interested to know is how many runners are choosing a different route because it's a race. Like, if I were doing a run, I'd use Snowdram, obviously. But in a race, oh gosh, no, I need to do something different. I wonder how much of that sentiment is going around.
So Drew isn't gonna set up for Salt Triple. He's just gonna backflip off the little platform. Missing the moon.
Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Oh gosh. Okay. So this this pile of salt there is somewhat precarious. You can dive past the moon and just land in the lava, land to your death. The salt pile there also does not have nice even geometry. So while you're rolling off of it, it could just steer you hard right, hard left, again falling into the lava and dying. Drew able to recover and notice in time and save his life. Thank goodness. Now heading to the Spewart boss fight.
Yes, and enemy, you really do need to learn one-player Luncheon. No offense.
But a nice clean boss fight for Drew there. Viridityy exiting the 2.5D room.
Yes. One of the most annoying rooms in the game, in my opinion.
It's not so bad once you get to know it. All right. First part of Luncheon, done.
Viridityy is gonna go for Fish Dip.
Oh? Okay. Hard to see because of the kelp in the way. I can't
Sadly does
tell.
not get it.
Yeah, I think he's inbounds. Yeah, unfortunate. Those kelp were all up in the camera's grill though. Really hard to see anything.
Yes.
But now we have Drew heading over to the town portion of Luncheon Kingdom. Going to be collecting just one moon off to the side here and then rolling through town. As Viridityy is looking to close out the Seaside Kingdom, see if we can get another fish clip at the end here.
Yes, this first part of the second part of Luncheon Kingdom is kind of dangerous because of the way geometry works on those rocks.
Ooh, okay, so small mishap from Drew there. Was able to get the cap throw to home in on the box and spawn the moon, but did not get the dive up that he was hoping for, so has to wall jump another time. Very, very small time loss, but you could see he's just not quite getting the moon he was going for there. A little bit of frustration. But we do have a clean fish clip from Viridityy out of bounds, collecting the moon. Not clipping in bounds. Ooh, okay. And going to the loading zone for the last moon. And camera manipulation from Drew here. This is, I think, the first time we're seeing this in the tournament. Drew is intentionally pointing his camera down as he makes his way over to this platform so that after this moon is collected, the Podoboo will spawn and he will possess it, capture it, head over to the fast flicking forks room. I think that is the first time we've seen the camera manipulation so far in this tournament.
I think we've seen it before, and mostly in the B division, though. I think this is the first
There
time
was
in
a
the C division.
That's right. There was a B division match. That's right. That's right. But very clean fork stream from Drew heading out.
And Viridityy will be heading into luncheon.
Oh, a
That's-
little bit of a. You can see Drew like, what did I just do? I threw my cap the other way, threw it away from the Podoboost. Has to wait for it to come back up. A little bit of an unfortunate mishap there, but not a huge amount of time loss. Making his way up the cliffside, nice and clean. And Viridityy also opting for the little ledge off to the left rather than salt triple. Gets enough height. Drew capturing the pan, bro. This is not a hammer, bro. It's a pan, bro. It's throwing frying pans, and frying pans are the way to destroy blocks of cheese, don't you know?
And that was a weird down throw roll cancel by Viridityy, but it gets up to the moon nonetheless. So good job.
All right, and that'll be the second to last story moon for Drew. Just one more section of the kingdom to go as Viridityy heads into the Spewart boss fight. This is Viridity's second time fighting Spewart. We fought him before in the Wooded Kingdom at the very end, and it's the same boss fight. You just stand on his head. He can't go anywhere. He's a goner.
Yes.
Nice spin through a roll cancel there from Drew. Gonna light the torch. Not setting up his cat throw beforehand for a vault, but that's not the end of the world. It's a little bit of fancy movement he opted not to do. Triple jumping up.
I still think that's a fancy move. Oh, and he
Ooh,
bonks.
He lost a little bit of height on his triple jump there. Before he did the cat throw, he lost some height. You do need the maximum amount of height possible in order to clear this gap here.
And does take the saber approach just by setting up on the rock above that moon.
Yeah, and opts just for the safe long jump across the back of the mountainside here, not risking any of those bongs, just steering clear, giving it a wide berth. Really can't hate that decision in a race.
Yes, and there is a piece of movement there that is very scary because there's a small bit of geometry you can dive on when trying to get a Cappy return jump. But but you can easily bonk there and lose your run.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can see on Viridity's screen, all of the obstacles in this level are very weirdly, rigidly shaped, very flat polygonal faces. And that makes for some tricky platforming at the back half of Luncheon where, the weird edges mean that Mario might bonk in a place you don't expect, and you really don't want to have that happen. Don't want to fall into the lava. Want to keep the run going. So a little bit of a safer play from Drew there, but again, I cannot hate it. Totally.
I mean,
totally
unless they do
reasonable.
have a heart attack, or not heart attack, unless they are having heartburn, which they do need to take the Pepto-Bismol.
Yes. Yeah, the lava in this level is all purpley or pink, hot pink. So everyone calls it the Pepto. But here,
Yes,
Viridityy also pointing the camera down, doing the camera manip. You were saying?
I was just gonna respond to chat. Yes, enemy, do everything but slots and shop.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's those moons are not what you want. I mean, you might be doing Spiritless, I don't know, but Viridityy and fast flicking forks. Drew making his way to the Ruin Kingdom boss fight, which for all intents and purposes is just an auto scroller. So I'm gonna ignore that game feed exists at all unless something dramatic happens, which I'm not expecting. And take a look at Viridityy here. He's cleaning up the fast flicking forks room, getting the side moon first. Gonna jump over to the main platform and exit the sub area.
I'm really hoping that we can see something exciting happen in Ruin, like a death or maybe even a 4-cycle track.
Oh,
I'm not wishing that upon Drew, but I am hoping that this boss fight does become more entertaining.
Yeah, we like to call it an auto scroller because there are very rarely any chances for anything to go wrong. But in terms of a race spectator perspective, there is some potential intrigue if things go wrong in this kingdom and in any other kingdom. Anything can go wrong at any time in the run, and it's always interesting as a viewer to be like, oh, well, now the other runner can catch up. Things can happen. But you know, statistically speaking, I think Ruined is the least likely kingdom for that to happen, unfortunately. I'm not saying it can't happen. It obviously can. Things can happen in this boss fight, but statistically speaking, it is relatively unlikely.
And we say all intensive purposes because obviously it's not an actual auto-scroller, but it does act like one.
Yeah. But that will be Drew closing out the Ruined boss fight, collecting his triple banana, and heading out of here. He still has just the back half of Luncheon to do with the back of the mountainside and the multi-moon from the pot.
Rudy is having some issues with his frame rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit difficult to tell exactly what's going on, but we get the gist. Just hope that there's no bonk here at the back half. Okay, able to make it over to the platform safely. Very nice. And that will be Drew heading over to Bowser's Kingdom. The last real gauntlet, so to speak, in the run. Lots of pretty technical movement, tricky platforming, all separated by story moons. So there's a story moon for every segment of this kingdom. We get a chance to breathe in between each of the little mini segments. So lots of time to mentally reset if something goes wrong, or to think it over and think about all your mistakes and get further and further into a mental hole. I mean, anything can happen, you know?
I mean, I do the latter, but
just plenty of time to reflect on how terrible you are at the video game. That's what I do.
exactly.
Okay, this is interesting. Drew grabbing the bird here, gonna be going down, throwing Cappy right over the bird, getting the moon, and capture warping back up to the bird. Very nice little bit of tech there, and able to kill the Spiny, not take any damage. Very nice there from Drew. Very difficult to do with that camera angle that he got. That was something. Yeah, so in Bowser's Kingdom, like I said, there are a bunch of story moons, one of which we get from killing this ogre here. Just ground pound on his head. Story moon will spawn. This kingdom, to start with, does not show you how many moons you need to move on and progress past this kingdom, and that's by design. The number of moons that you need to leave Bowser's Kingdom is actually all of the story moons that you get just from doing the level naturally, and 2 additional moons. So that moon that Drew got before, where he jumped down, grabbed the moon, warped back up to the bird, that is one of 2 moons that he needed to decide which ones he was getting. There are multiple options that you have in this kingdom, multiple routes you could take, depending on which side moons you want to collect other than the story moons. And they're all roughly equal in terms of speed. You know, there's not any significant time loss or gain to speak of, depending on which moon you go for. But getting hit by the Spiny is a big time loss. Damage in this game is really bad because it means that, you know, you stop, you take damage, Mario goes the, oh, I got hit animation, and you're waiting. And also, when you collect the next moon that you collect, Mario will get healed, which has its own animation that plays. So you're double dipping on time loss whenever you take damage, actually. Really unfortunate there. But like I said, Drew had collected one of his 2 non-story moons before. This is his second story moon. So he needs 1 more moon that is not a story moon, and he'll be done with a additional moon collection for this kingdom.
And for those of you that can't do math, what Akira was talking about is that you need a total of 8 moons to leave Bowser's Kingdom.
Yes, thank you. Drew going over here for this 1 moon on the back half of the sledge.
That always makes me scared.
And now he's done. He does not need to go out of his way to collect any additional moons. He just needs to do the story moons, and he can move on. The eternal question, Topper or Harriet first? Topper first. We have a Topper first enjoyer in the chat.
Very cringe.
ultimately doesn't matter. You know, you have to fight both of the bunnies anyway. The order really does not matter. You either go left or right, and then afterwards you go the opposite platform. No time lost,
Yes.
no time gained, equal time. It's just you know, one of the community memes like, oh, which side are you on? Do you do Topper or Harriet first? And it's
Yes,
kind of one of
in
those.
reality, there's only like one category that requires to do Harriet or Topper first, because it is slightly faster, but in any percent, there's really no time difference.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant what you choose. But it is a good meme, so I
Yes.
approve. All right. Nice clean lineup there from Drew. Knows exactly where he needs to stand in order to get that fast hit back on Harriet. The place on the arena that you stand also does affect how many times that she jumps. She like does several little hops before she'll throw the bomb at you. You know, you need to wait until she throws the bomb at you so you can bounce it back at her. So standing on a specific part of the ground to minimize the amount of time that she's hopping before she throws bombs is ideal. Drew was able to do that. She only had the 2 hops each time, so very nice there.
2 hops this time. Harriet doing the cha-cha slide.
Basically. And Viridityy in Bowser's Kingdom now as well, also going for this first bird moon at the start of the kingdom, looking for the capture warp. Kills the spine, he gets it out of the way first, like that. And now Drew, probably going to be triple jumping his way off this railing, making his way up, climbing the latter portion of the kingdom here. Again, does not need to go out of his way to collect any other moons, just can go straight up to the Robo-Brood boss fight and get on with the story.
And that was that was some of the cleanest movement I've seen without crates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it used to be much more popular back in the day, actually. Nowadays, most top runners will be doing the Crates Moon just because it is right on the path and it feels
Oh, Drew
faster. Oh my
does kill the
gosh.
Pokio by accident. And
Oh, and he
kills the
kills the
second
other one
one.
too. Now he has to wait for it to respawn. He's just chilling. He's waiting. Yep, that's really unfortunate.
Daza
But
is criticizing Drew for those mistakes.
in the grand scheme of things, you know, I think Drew knows how far ahead he is. He's not concerned. It's more just the frustration at yourself. Like, I can't believe I just did that. Wow, I'm such an idiot. We've all been there, buddy.
Yes, we have. Reddy is gonna capture the bird, which in my opinion is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a stranger decision there. That bird is not required for this section at all. You can just get by with Mario's platforming skills, but you know, if it's something that a runner is used to, there's no reason not to do anything different in a race. You should do what you're most comfortable doing in a race. So totally respect that, but
Yes.
bit unusual to see is what we'll say. But yeah, so runners did used to go for the crate, or runners these days do go for the crate moon more often than not. But it used to be common back in the day to go and get that bird capture moon at the start of the kingdom that both of our runners did. Okay, we see Drew
Drew
setting
is
up
gonna
for
go for
target
target
acquired
acquired.
and nails it. Very clean, very nice boss fight from Drew. So yeah, as far as the route that both of our runners have chosen for Bowser's Kingdom, I'll say it's a bit of an older route, but it checks out. Not that much slower at all.
And now, unfortunately, it does seem like Drew can't get a PB anymore, even with the comp sub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Not going to be looking at a PB any longer, but this run is still, you know, a minute-ish apart from his PB. He's going to be about a minute behind his PB, which I think is a fantastic performance for a race, honestly.
Yes. Reddy does miss the bounce on Topper, but does clean up the hats quite nicely. And is able to get that third Topper.
Very nice.
Awkward boomer. I know IDK, right?
I am a boomer. I am an Odyssey boomer. I've been running this game basically since the day it came out, and my age shows. That doesn't mean I'm good at the game. I just know a lot.
Yes.
Right, Viridityy setting up. Not able to do the manipulation there. Gets a couple more hops from Harriet, unfortunately, but not the end of the world. And Drew is heading off to the Moon Kingdom. Mario's dressed in his finest white tux. And let's see how these rolls on the surface of the moon go here. This is the only part of the game where we actually have moon gravity, the surface of the moon here. Once we enter the building, where gravity is back to normal, everything is, all copacetic. But this is the one area where you need to be very particular about your movement because you don't deal with this moon gravity very often. You need to be very comfortable with how to handle it. But Drew, making his way over, collecting the 2 rocket flowers, easy peasy, no big deal. Not a problem at
Treo
all.
is calling you out.
Yeah, but I haven't fought the lake boss in, I don't know how long. I don't think about him. Let's see the cave skip here for Drew. Looks good. Nice. Diving over to the ledge. Gets his cat bounce. Gets on the bridge. All systems are go. We are in the clear. He's off to the chapel. Off to the races to fight Bowser.
And now the only biggest time loss in the game is either failing fast sets or dying in escape.
Yeah, dying in escape is really what you don't want to have happen. There are no checkpoints once you're in the escape sequence. If something goes wrong, even if you're on the last pillar and in the final room, if something goes wrong, you're going all the way back to the beginning of the whole escape sequence. Really don't want to see that happen. But now Viridityy entering the Robo Brood boss fight.
Is just gonna go for Birdie Mech, which is very respectable in this level.
Yeah, and Drew demonstrating one of my favorite fun facts about this Bowser fight, which I'll talk about after he does this fast hat here. Gets it, nice. So in between phases here, Bowser will spit fire across the ground and do a sweeping sort of motion to try to catch you. And none of those flames are actually hurt boxes at all. None of that can actually hurt you. It's literally just a floor scan. If Mario is standing on the floor when the fire comes by, it'll hit you. If you are an inch off the ground, you're safe. Totally safe.
Yes, you can even just bonk. You can even just bonk and it'll just pass right by you.
Yeah. A nice damage boost. Gets the fast hat again for Drew. One, two, three. And then one more swipe. And Bowser is dead. And now we make our way into the escape sequence. Gotta capture Bowser and possess him for the end of the run. And
Will we
it's gonna
see
be
2D assist?
highly unlikely, I would say. But now, will we see XD skip is the actual question. This
Yes.
is a somewhat popular meme with some of our runners. We call it a skip because it is similar to the 2D skip. We call it some particular platforming in the 2D section here. You can do the same sort of platforming technique later on in the 2D section, but it doesn't save any time at all. Not faster, not slower. It's just there for memes. So here's the first 2D skip, jumping on this block, and then on this block, and then up. And then standard movement, standard movement. Drew says, I'm not about the memes. Just get me the dub. Let me win the race.
I remember yesterday I did a XD skip just because I knew that it wasn't gonna win. Now there is a faster way to do quote-unquote XD skip in the fight in the 2D section, which is jumping on that last block and doing basically 2D skip. But it only saves 0.1 of a second.
Let's see the fireballs here for Drew. Unfortunately, missing some fireballs, has to go run up to the first pillar, finish it off.
And everybody
that first
get your
pillar
cat
is really
jams in.
tough. Yes, you might
No
not be able to hear it,
FAGs.
but I promise you there is the best anime music happening right now. And there is Drew finishing up the final pillar. Going to be swiping the middle here, heading on out. Gonna have a final time. It looks like a 105 4x barely. It might be a 5x. I can't tell. Oh my gosh, it's really close actually. The final time.
It will be a
105
105.51.
50
50.
flat. 50 flat.
Yes, 50 flat.
Yes, very very nice there from Drew. A little bit more than a minute off of his PB, but all things considered, can't be too upset with that. It was a really, really nice race. So GG's to Drew. Let's see how Viridityy now finishes off his run. Unfortunately, as I say, let's watch Viridityy now. Immediately bonks, but not the biggest time loss in the world.
Only look at the final timer. The final timer is God.
Yeah, so I think he's looking at the stats page, which should have the time from when he split.
Yes.
Should be a 50. It might be a 51. I'm not entirely sure.
GG's Viridityy.
GG's, and thank you for joining us, Drew. GG's on the race. Congrats on your victory. How you feeling so far?
It was an interesting run. I lost time on literally every single split except I think Lost and Metro. So a lot of weird mistakes, a lot of unique mistakes, but you know, shaking off the rust. So hopefully next game I can be like sub 105.
Yeah, shaking off the rust is one of the great challenges of Odyssey runners coming back to the game. Was there anything in particular that felt just really off or wasn't quite gelling the way that you had hoped it would?
It was lots of little things. It was like up throws coming out just a little too early, which would cause me to bonk and fall or something, you know, like lots of little things like that. So just like things that I think as I do some more practice and shake off the rust that should hopefully go away.
Gotcha. You still did perform admirably in race standards, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think, you know, when you go into a tournament race, you got to expect you're going to play like maybe 30% of your skill level, you know, because you don't get to just reset until you're really warmed up and in the zone. You just kind of just one and done, you know. So.
You do have some praise though. You have a compliment from Dansta. He wanted us to relate to you that he loves you for your cheese movement in London.
My cheese movement.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I swear, dude, the hammer bros are the most annoying part of the entire game. That sub area where you're just digging for shards under the cheese.
Oh,
worst
man.
moons in the game.
Yeah, we don't see that in the any percent run, but all moons runners will tell you that room sucks.
Yeah, those are my least favorite moons of all the 880 moons.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
Real annoyance, real pain. But yeah, I mean,
you think they're even worse than Breakdown Road and Dark Side?
Oh yeah. Because those at least like you can grind those out. You can grind those out and get consistent. Whereas like the cheese, the RNG on the pans is like, I don't know if it's actually RNG, but it might as well be. Like
it certainly is. Yeah, it's there's nothing you can do. You just have to wait and pray, spray and pray, as they say. But yeah, I mean, again, GG's good
is
race.
Gonna try to do TSS.
Oh, here we go.
Nah, it doesn't land it, unfortunately.
Yeah, might as well go for it at least once, right?
Yeah. But yeah, the thing I was going to say, Drew, is, you know, if this is you shaking off the rust and you know, coming back and trying to regain some of that muscle memory, I'm excited to see how your future races are going to go. I think it's going to be an exciting watch. Same.
I think just if I stick to it, grind out some of the movement, I should be back in shape before the end of the tournament, hopefully. So.
Now, I do have, unfortunately, we don't have much more time here to wrap up. We do have another Mario Odyssey Division C race coming up. So we are going to let Viridityy finish his run, but I don't think we're going to have time for an interview with Viridityy, unfortunately. We do have to keep the schedule moving along. But I assume Viridityy might be able to hear us. So I'll say, Viridityy, thank you so very much for coming by and showing us, showing us what you got, showing us your race. It was really exciting to see. And yeah, we'll be looking forward to more Odyssey C Division coming up immediately. More Odyssey. We're going to have Marlon versus Smart Fridge just as soon as we have this race wrap up and a small tech break afterwards. Thank you to both of our runners. Thank you to our viewers. Anything you want to say?
Thank you guys thanks for having me, guys, and GG Viridityy.
GG's. That will be Viridityy wrapping up with a final time of 1:11. 12.
1:11.
I was wrong. I was wrong. Unfortunate. 11:11 would have been cool. But anyway, again, thank you, Viridityy. I don't think we have a lot of time to conduct an interview. We do need to get the next race rolling, but thank you so much for coming by, and GG's to you.
Yeah, thank you too.
GG's.
And with that, we'll take a small break before the next.